S13 restoration, rebuild, whatever you want to call it, continues on, and in the last video I have finally painted the engine bay and it still looks as shiny as it did at the end of the last video. Check this out. Obviously the lighting is not the greatest. That is decent. For spraying in garden, that is decent. That's really nice, really red, nice and shiny. Obviously there's few bits like this, a bit of dirt here and there, I don't care. As you can see, it's all masked up now, and the reason for that is because all of this is going to be covered up in stone chip stuff. I have slightly scuffed it down and I'm just waiting for the compressor to fill up, and I'm going to give it a quick blow over with air, then panel wipe and cover it all in Gravitex, and that will allow us to actually start rebuilding the stuff under the engine bay. Well, that's Gravitex applied. I have to say it is spraying a lot harder than I thought it would be, so not gonna lie, some overspray, but generally looks fairly straight, fairly nice. The wheel arches are looking spot on. That's, I think, maybe, I don't know what that is, but YOLO. But yeah, quite a good result, quite pleased with that. And now I can start, well, I'm going to wait for it to dry, but I can start putting stuff in. I've got loads of little brackets and stuff like that to clean up and paint. Some of them hard done, some of them I'm not going to do. But yeah, it's going to be nice to start putting stuff in and changing the look of the engine bay, finally. While the Gravitex stuff is drying, I had some time to play around with the water pump and timing belt and all that sort of snazzy stuff. Surprisingly, the old belt didn't look too bad at all, so I probably could have left it. There's literally no focus. But essentially the belt is in really good condition, which is weird. Had some issues with changing the timing belt, and I resorted to using the OEM, the original tensioner and deflection pulley, and after that I had no issues. And one thing I realised with the water pump, so as you can see, something is missing. Obviously that's the other way around, but oh, look at this. So that flange is pressed in wrong way around. Honestly, this is how it should look. This bit should be at the top or outside, not underneath. And obviously these parts were bought from eBay, and guess what the seller has asked when I opened, well, I sent them a question to say, look, these parts are not great, and they said, have they been fitted by qualified mechanic? I'm like, if it was just the timing, because I did struggle a little bit for no reason really, but the fact that water pump is actually defected from factory and they're asking, has it been fitted by a qualified mechanic? What sort of stupid question is that? Like, if it was just the timing belt, fair enough. Is it the right part for your engine and all sorts of stuff? Do you know what you're doing? Makes sense. But when the part is visibly defective, and I send them pictures, it's not right to ask stupid questions. So I just opened the return because they really annoyed me. So I've ordered replacement parts from another place, so hopefully that turns up pretty quick, and then I'll be able to continue servicing the engine. I still have to order the thermostat. This will need to come off and be cleaned a little bit. I can't imagine the thermostat, to be fair, looks fairly clean. I might leave it, to be fair, because it's easy enough to do off the with the engine on the car, but I'll see how much it costs. If it's cheap enough, I'll replace it. But yeah, let's wait for this Gravitex to dry out and start putting stuff back on. So I haven't realised how much I've done since the last video. I just had to watch the last clip I filmed a few days ago, and this is the current look. So the wiring loom has been fed through. And this is where I messed up. There are no holes for holding this fuse box, so gonna probably look at double-sided tape. And as I mentioned in previous clip, I'm not gonna clean up everything, so I found this chrome thing, so that looks alright. And this is another place where I messed up. So this section has been cut out and there was a threaded thing here welded on, and as you can see it's not there, so I think I'm just going to leave it on 2 bolts, and there's absolutely no points with 3 bolts here, but whatever. Another thing I haven't messed up is I didn't take pictures of where these lines went. Obviously on the ABS pump it's marked what line is, or which connection is what, basically, but I am not 100% sure that this order is correct, and I should have taken pictures of that, but again, it seems to be okay-ish in place, so I'm going to leave it there. If I need to, I will redo it. It's accessible. Another thing that I'm not entirely sure is this strut brace is for S13, but it is literally touching the master, so I will have to play around with that when the brake booster is bolted on. It's currently not, and there's a reason for that. Suspension is fitted. This is some of the brackets that I said I'm not going to clean up. So this one is a bit of a pain. It's for ABS sensor, so I just left it. Same for this. I don't think I was able to take off these bolts, so I'm just leaving the bracket as it is. Another mess up here, another thread missing, but well, I have an excuse for that. Intercooler is bolted up here. I think realistically, whoever gets this car in future may want to run a SR20 or whatever and run a big intercooler. So I think there's no point drilling that hole now, and yeah, just damage the paint, the lacquer, the primers, just for 1 bolt. The intercoolers, it's not going anywhere. It's bolted up fine, and these nuts, these bolts are not even tightened up yet. I was going to fit the expansion tank, but I have a problem with that. I need a new one, essentially. I might go for a chrome aluminium one because they are cheaper than genuine ones. Some of the stuff on the front end has been fitted as well. I remember suspension also fitted on this side. I remember some of the brackets. I think there was a bracket that went from here to maybe here or somewhere, and I remember that was just disintegrated, but I don't know why Nissan did it so complicated. There's a bracket here, there's a bracket underneath, and again that's not going anywhere, and that's not even bolted up properly yet. I will clean up this. It was just there for making sure where it goes. And obviously the subframe's in. I've painted a few bits, like the tension arms or whatever they're called, so they will go in next, hopefully tomorrow or day after tomorrow, depending on how the paint dries. So good progress overall. Stuff is moving along in the right direction. The last bit that I have just been working on, if anyone watched one of the earlier videos, I may have shown there was a massive dent here, and there's still obviously it's not perfect, but all I have is this dent puller or puller thing, and I was just welding it on, and it's a lot better than it used to be. I'm just gonna even it out a little bit with the filler, but obviously you'll be able to tell there's a bit of a dent. But considering how much these sills have been cut up, and the fact that there's going to be side skirts going over it, honestly, I don't think it's one of those things that needs to be perfect. Another thing, and the last update, I didn't realise so much happened in the last 2 days. Second new water pump has been fitted, and it's the right one with this part fitted on the correct way. New timing belt. and the engine is pretty much ready to go on, I think. Just waiting for, well, what it's waiting for is, realistically, I need to get the car on axle stands rather than being on the wheels there. Once it's on axle stands, I can finish up cleaning the gearbox tunnel, which was the last bit that I haven't cleaned, and I think a bit of floor on this side. So once that is all cleaned up, I can spray the Gravitech stuff and then put the engine in, which will be quite scary because obviously I don't want to scratch any of this paint. So I will probably put loads of bubble wrap and all that sort of stuff, just so that we don't damage the paintwork. So that is quite an update. I didn't realise so much happened in the last few days. I think it was like 3 days since I last filmed Gravitech stuff. And I've had non-car related stuff as well that I was doing. So yeah, moving it right in the right direction. And it's getting closer and closer to actually starting to sand down all this bodywork and priming and painting the entire car, which honestly I cannot wait. Obviously I still got to finish up the floor. Obviously it's still just in primer, but all that's going to be covered in Gravitex very soon. It's pretty much one of the next few jobs, and once the car is all nice and painted underneath, we'll need to get a lot of sanding paper and sand down the entire car, primer it, paint it, use a bit of filler, and hopefully get it looking good. But I do have a major problem. I cannot find any wings for sale in the UK. So my wings, unfortunately, they're just no good. They're all out of shape. I have two driver side, all bent, unusable unless I cut both of them in half and weld them together, which I don't really want to do. The passenger side is slightly better, but it's also out of shape. So I'm not sure what to do there. And I really wanted to paint the whole car rather than painting all the panels separate. So I'm really concerned that I might have a bit of a decision to make: either paint the car without the wings and then risk paint mismatch, or stop the job on the S13 and do the engine bay on the Supra, because there's very few jobs now left. When I say few, all the jobs are now quite easy and just fitting stuff and making new brake lines and stuff like that, which is fairly straightforward and a lot easier than welding and grinding and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's a lot of rambling on. Just kind of giving insights into the reality of car builds when you're doing it for the first time, or whenever, even if you had 10 builds, you still come across all this stuff. So I will probably end the video on this. Quite a lot of progress in this one video. Proud of it. Keep moving in the right direction, and before you know it, this car will be on the road for the first time in 27 years, and hopefully by the time it is on the road it won't be 28. So thank you for watching. I shall see you in the next one.